Good afternoon to you, Essequibo. Good afternoon to you, Guyana. I'm yours truly, Esther, Secretary of the Guyana Reparations Committee. This is a special edition of our monthly television program, Reparations Now, and I'm sitting in for our Vice Chairman and Moderator, Brother Jonathan Adams. This program comes to you with the compliments of the Ministry of Presidency, Department of Social Cohesion. In studio with us today is none other than retired Rear Admiral Gary Best and our international musical artist, Brother Eddie Grant. Brother Eddie Grant and Brother Gary Best, welcome to this special edition of Reparations Now in Charity, Essequibo. It's a pleasure having you once again and always with us, anywhere, even on Reparations Now. The subject is reparations. You've recently been declared the International Ambassador on Reparations by the Guyana Reparations Committee for Guyana. Your album titled Reparations has gone so far. What time exactly did you publish that album, and what inspired you to publish that album?
Well, it's probably gold by now.
Gold?
Hopefully. I mean, that information that you got would have been at the time of release. Yeah, at the time of release of that record. Not that it makes much difference. More important is its content and the reach of it. You can't write a song called Reparation and have great expectations of it, because the world is not really geared towards reparations for the Africans and African descendant people. However, it was my intention to bring that to the public forum, and in that manner it has been somewhat successful so far. I'm very happy to have been nominated an ambassador for the Reparation Committee of Guyana. After all, I do come from here. I am of African descent, and I do care enough about both Guyana and Africa to be able to do that job well.
Yes, certainly. We know that the Caribbean leaders have now joined the call for reparations. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that the call from various quarters in the Caribbean would have forced even the most reticent Caribbean leader to get on the bandwagon, a very necessary act, because the longer it takes, the harder it gets for us to receive reparatory justice from whoever.
Yes, certainly. To my knowledge, reparations has two aspects. One, the call for payment for a job being forcibly done by our ancestors, and the other is self-repair. Could you expound a bit on the self-repair? Because for me, self-repair is most important, because without us being aware of ourselves and being knowledgeable of ourselves and our past, nobody will tell you sorry for what we did to you if you don't know the language. So share your thoughts.
What happened to the African during the period of slavery, immediately thereafter and until now, is a very significant crime. Had the perpetrators been in a position to do that to a European, and or we to them, we would have all been scalded in hot mercury by now. We would be so dead, we would have been history a long time ago, and all the reparations in the world would have been handed out to those people. It's been proven in Haiti. The reason that Haiti is in such terrible conditions economically and socially, it's because of the reparations being bullied out of the Haitians to France for what they consider happened to the French during the time of Toussaint and his African generals. The issue that we have to deal with and they have to contend with, they being the perpetrators of this terrible crime, is that it was so terrible that through successive generations, the malady of slavery and enslavement still exists, and so much so that it is morphed into different forms. We, the Africans outside of Africa, have to contend with that. Africa is being attacked again, this time by various other forces, and it will come to us again. We will, slavery will visit onto the third and fourth generations, and thereafter, in our case. So it is a very significant fight that we are fighting, talking about getting reparations to pay not for the crime, because the crime has been committed. It is the effect of the crime. If they had just stolen some money from us, no problem. They stole our memory from us. You've heard me speak about this big amnesia, this big loss of memory. There has been no bigger loss of memory than that happened in our Holocaust. So who can pay for that? It's not just an issue of payment. It's first of all a massive apology, a recognition that they've done something wrong. They've done something wrong in the universe. They've caused a whole constellation to move out of its orbit, you know? So it's not just about finding some money to give to some black people. It is recognition, first of all, that they did something wrong and they will not ever attempt to do it again in this lifetime or other. And there has to be reparatory justice for that crime, commensurate with the crime. Now, in my terms, I always say that in doing that, what they've enjoined us in is a partnership. Because if we hadn't, although maybe unwillingly or otherwise, if we hadn't done their bidding, they would not have become so empowered and so rich. So it's simple to me, divide the cake.
Divide the cake.
Correct.
Yes, we worked.
Absolutely.
Forcibly. We were never paid. They got rich off of the free labor they got from us. They built their empires.
That's correct.
And we're impoverished.
Well, you have to let your children know that what really took place and the scale of what took place. You have to let them know that when they read in their school books about the Industrial Revolution, that Industrial Revolution in Europe took place because of us, because of our labor, because of the amounts of monies that these people made that enabled and empowered them to build massive warships and take over all other countries and continents and do whatever it is that they wanted to do. We were the bankers, our muscle, our young people's muscles, because people tend to think in terms of slaves being old men, you know, with broken backs. Not true. They didn't bring old men from Africa.
No, they didn't.
They brought powerful mountains of men.
Yes.
Men that would make Muhammad Ali look small. These were the young guys. I mean, there are photographs of these guys who are around today. I mean, the Shaquille O'Neal didn't just appear.
Sure.
His grandfather, his great-great-grandfather, must have been a mountain.
Sure.
So we have been somewhat reduced physically, intellectually, and otherwise. It's a massive crime, and it requires engagement of those people who did that, and or their ancestors who did that to bring us to this parlous state.
Yes, they did, certainly. Well, the story, or the history, or our story, as I should say, not his story. Our story is that when they raided Africa, they brought the rulers, what we would call today cabinet, all the support staff with the ruler. They brought all the physicians, the architects, the engineers. They brought only the best. So the story is the brain of Africa came to the front.
Thank God, a friend of mine who is from Ghana always says to me, thank God that you guys survived. Because if you hadn't been taken and if you hadn't survived, maybe they would have attempted to decimate Africa. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. But today, thank God, we're here, and we have a voice, and we have intellect, and all the things of the future we have. We just have to redress the imbalance of the past. Because in the past lies the root of our future.
Yes, indeed. Well, it goes to show, they say we can't do business, we're not entrepreneurs, we're lazy, all of that. And we're today here as proof that it's all lies and illusion. We're here today as proof that we have lost nothing. We have the same great genes that our ancestors had. We are our ancestors. We are connected to them. The same things that they did, we can, and even greater. Brother Gary Best, you've been silently smiling in that corner. Let's hear your thoughts, please.
The silence is consent. So I was consenting to what Brother A has been saying, and he's quite right in some point with that. The psychological damage is quite significant to the descendants of enslaved Africans. And repairing that will take quite some time, but we have to start with understanding our story. So the reparations story, the books that have been prepared and we're now sharing out, is a great start. We have to continue that. We have to get that story into the school system formally, and every parent who is a descendant of an enslaved Africans must tell that story to his and her children, so the story continues. At the national level, for us, in the Reparations Committee, is that we believe that even though there is an international dimension to reparations, which doesn't concern the crime of enslavement, but any explain that's not just the money. At the national level, we believe that the state of Guyana also has a duty to provide reparations to the descendants of enslaved Africans in the form of land that we lost when we were kidnapped and kidnapped in Africa and brought to Guyana. Lands that we indigenized for over 215 years for free, that were not handed over to us at the time of emancipation. And lands that were not handed over to us at the time of independence, save for our Amerindian brothers and sisters, with whom we have no difficulty. But in like manner that lands were handed over to them, we have a just and righteous cause for the lands that we indigenize, the lands that we work hard on the whips and rebelled against for 250 years, and those lands should be handed over to us so that we can set it up in an investment trust, and the proceeds in which will continue the amelioration or the betterment of the condition of the descendants of the enslaved African. So there are two dimensions, an international dimension and a national dimension. Both have a psychological effect. What Eddie talks about the memory, the damage of memory, where sometimes we don't want to hear about what happened to us. So we have to embrace our history. And then the other ethnicities in Guyana have to embrace our history, and we have to embrace this history. So the extent to which we embrace each other's history will allow us to understand each other and work with each other again. I think we heard before, I think Brother Eddie said, we might be an aggregation and not a nation. Because unless we understand each other's history, embrace each other's history, not to become each other, but to embrace each other's history, then we would not be able to come together as a country and deal with the issue of reparations. As we say, each one teach one, each one reach one. We can do that if we understand the histories of each other.
Well, people without knowledge of the past is like a tree without a root. Those are the words of the great Marcus Messiah Garvey. Also, I would like this leads us to our youths are our future. All that we are agitating for today will really benefit our youths. I don't want to say this thing, our youths gotta come and take this baton, the next generation and run this race. We're gonna bust this tape in this generation. So the fruits and the benefits really are for our youths. We're doing all of our agitation with our youths in mind. Now is a good time to talk to our youths, to both of you. Starting with Brother Edna, what would you say to our youths, our future?
You won't be youths forever. We all were youthful. Prior to me, my father was youthful. Prior to him, his father was youthful. Youth only lasts so long. It is during the period of youth that you're capable of doing your most magnificent work. That which requires energy. Energy, once lost, is lost forever. We haven't learned how to recapture energy as yet. Some of us fool ourselves that we are still young and so on, but the energy component is lost. It gets less and less every year. So, speaking to you, that is what I have to say to you. It is that you have a certain amount of time in which you can do your share. You may think that reparation has nothing to do with you. They will teach you that. Maybe they will even teach you that in school. They will teach you that in your books. But reparation is a recognition of the fact that someone took advantage of you. An advantage that will never ever be repaired unless you make it repaired. So therein lies the story for you. If you are youthful, if you are young, and if you are capable, it is your responsibility as we grow older to pick up that baton. Pick it up as others have picked up for you, before you, and will continue to do so. All over the world, people are energizing their people to be more effective and efficient in looking after themselves. If you look after yourself, you may be able to look after the world. This is the bottom line of my ring-bind philosophy, which says that first you must learn to love yourself. If you cannot love yourself, you have no capacity for loving anybody else. Don't fool yourself. So it is for you to recognize that you are not alone. if you're African of African descent, you're not alone in your fights. There are other people who have other fights. It is just that your fight is so much greater because the whole world has been convinced that you have done nothing to the benefit of this world.
Well, to the youths out there, we have to hand the baton over to you indeed, but you have to understand why we have to hand this baton and what the baton signifies. And you have to be prepared, first of all, to unlearn and relearn. And that's not an easy process. Unlearn and relearn so you can understand reparations, because it comes sometime with a mode and a cloak of shame. I may not want to deal with it. In order to understand the importance of the battle, you have to understand your place in history. Your history did not start in 1492. Your history started thousands of years ago, and I'd like to signpost a few. Ancient Kemet, which is now modern-day Egypt. Aksum, which is now modern-day Ethiopia. You are from great empires and great ancestry. You are the fountain of knowledge. You are the origin of knowledge, the origin of mankind. Everything flowed from us, the Africans. If you recognize that, then you will disabuse your mind and dismiss anything that says to you that you can't be an engineer, you can't do business, because we set up business. We set up the universities. We set up the structures of the world, and in particular in the context of Guyana, we humanized this country. We created a nation state, and our blood was shed here. So there's a lot that you have to use, there's a lot that you have to see, and there's a lot that you have to embrace and pass on to the next generation. And that's what I'd like to say to the youth. Unlearn, relearn, and be sure to pass on that you are from great civilizations, and there's nothing in the world that you cannot do. And there's everything in the world that you've already done through your ancestors.
So true. Well, the fact is, we Africans are responsible for the establishment of all the great civilizations in the world. And that is a fact, unchallenged. So it is no wonder that they had to get us to come and build up this Caribbean.
Yes.
So, to quote a speech of Emperor Haile Selassie, he said, everything we have learned has ill prepared us for the life we have to live. So indeed, we have to unlearn and relearn. One of the strategies of the colonizers was to destroy the African family, because they recognized that the strength of the black man and the black woman was in the family. So they went to great lengths to make sure they destroyed the African family, because we know that the family is the greatest institution. What would my beloved brothers say in relation to families, bearing in mind that a woman is the integral part or the central point of our African families?
Me first?
Please.
Oh. You know, there are many lies been told, and once the lies have been told, then the liar has to continue lying. They created these people who became slave masters. They created a disharmony, if you like to put it this way, within our people, thereby making it appear as though we cannot look after ourselves. But that's a lie, because we have been looking after ourselves. We looked after, as my brother Bester said, we looked after great empires, great kingdoms. We looked after them. We gave them mathematics. We gave them science and technologies that upon which they are still pondering how to do it. So it's no mystery that when you have a powerful unit such as that, it is governed by a husband, wife, and a child, or 2, or 10, or 20. That's correct. It is what we wanted it to be. In other words, we had the people a word. So you had a situation where these people, having seen how prolific we are at generating humanity, that they would want to negate everything, because by numbers eventually you would take over whatever it is you choose to take over. And this they've seen already happening. So there are many lies in the newspapers, and they create environments where those lies are made into concrete. You know, it is really a tough affair having to fight on so many media levels. And today, those media levels the platforms have been expanded exponentially worldwide. Today, I say something and it's out there already. And if it is bad, Eddie's bad, Gary is bad. So we have to at all times guard against that. Why should we guard against that? It's quite simple. We have not made those platforms. We don't own those platforms. And we have to be careful in terms of our security and so on and so forth. It really is a hell of a position for us to have been placed in. I mean, I don't really feel that I should be here. I should be out enjoying myself doing something else. But this is a big work. So I come to realize I'm not a child anymore. I don't need to be doing everything that I used to do. Now, there is a big fight. I've recognized it as a massive fight. And I intend to join that fight, so in a systematic way, so that hopefully we will get what it is that we want within a reasonable amount of time. Not necessarily in our lifetimes. I've seen too many things.
Reparations now. Reparations now.
Now is relative, huh? Once we get it within good time, I say, let's get it. We start it now. We don't know whether we'll get it now, but let's start it now and guarantee that our future progeny are going to continue until they get it now.
Now, yes.
Interesting. So the family unit is very important in the African way of life. From time immemorial, we're the inventors, so to speak, of family. And in the African communal way of living, the family was important, and it was necessarily important because it was a communal way of living. Living in a commune, living in a community, you have a big family in your life. Even the divine cosmic order of the African way of life speaks about God, spirits, ancestors, living things, inanimate things. That's family. The way we dealt with land was distributed to the members of a tribe by the chief to be used for the benefit of the immediate families and all those persons and the collective families. So if you go to our history, we will recognize that we've always been a family. So for us to recognize the importance of family is to be tuned in to our history, recognize who is damaging the family, the extraneous information that is damaging the family, like dancehall, that is not music. Little Wayne, that is not music. These are people identified by persons behind the scene to push negative music and negative stereotyping out there and trap our youths. So we have to go back to our history, go back to the family unit, go back to the communal way of living. Once we do that, we recognize and rebuild the family, where there's a male and female who will reproduce and raise families in a much better manner. But we still have to anchor ourselves a little bit, unlearn, relearn, and tune back into our history, and then practice what we have practiced in our history in a modern sense. I think that will contribute to us regaining this family unity beyond time.
Thank you, Brother West. Well, our technician has showed us 3 minutes, But we can't go without saying something to our leaders. We talk to the youths, we talk to the women of our family, and we must say something to our leaders before we leave.
This is my favorite part. Our leaders must recognize, first of all, that they are in employment. They are in our employ. First, every great leader must recognize that all he is a worker. It is required that our leader, such as we have at this time, and we are sitting in 2018, in the month of September, must recognize that he is there as our servant. He happens to be the servant of all the people. He has recognized the importance of some of the people, but he has not recognized us. That's not fair.
Thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure being here in Essequibo and talking to our viewers, Guyana. Look for the Guyana Reparations Committee programs. Every month we have our youth program Ikemba every second Thursday, and we have our adult program every fourth Sunday. So our youth program Ikemba is aired at 9:05 every second Thursday, and the adult program Reparations Now is aired at 7:05 every fourth Sunday. And Essequibo, Pomeroon, don't forget, get in touch with your local representatives, Brother Royston Peters, Sister Desiree Charles, and Brother Granville, also Sister Audrey Garway, and keep focused and keep supporting Guyana Reparations Committee. Attend our outreaches, put your ears to the ground for every information, and support the reparations call. Again, I am yours truly, Esther Gittins. This program comes to you with the compliments of the Ministry of Presidency, Department of Social Cohesion. And with that, I must say reparations now until we meet again.
Ashe.